Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red. The groups start to stretch out, getting out of the saddle now, starting to put down the power. The red chevrons you can see appearing on the right-hand side of the screen, showing that the rider's going into that Zone 6. Alza again is starting to set the pace. Jeros looking pretty comfy here. Vink in the mix as well. They've got to keep pushing though. You can't let the gaps go on this climb behind. It is a real string of riders strung out behind with gaps opening up. 13 riders, Amy Thompson, the last of those riders in Category 4 going over as Takova goes over the top, leads them through. This is a select group here of Category 3 riders. This is your leading group. The gap has opened up behind. You can see the gaps showing on the left-hand side. The dot to dot is not dot to dot anymore. This is really, really tough as they come up here. Davidson in this group here trying to push on with Gonzalez Real, with Vittori, Svarstrom in the mix as well. 6 riders, 5 prizes. One of these riders is going to be disappointed. Who is going to be out of the mix? Johnson here looking to put the riders in trouble early on. The speed picks up. Currently motoring at 38 kilometers an hour, going over the 40 mark. It'll soon be going over 50. Here we go. Over 50 kph at the moment. Now over 60. But the descent is going to end. Nikola Takova putting the pressure on. Kokoden, Johnson, Vasquez answering it. So is Simkin. This is not going to be over. Surely this is going to come down to a sprint in Category 3. Fink accelerates up. She doesn't want to get caught napping. Bago's coming, chasing behind. She's trying to keep clear of Vincic. She's trying to pull the gap back down again. But Ella Vink is going to take the victory here. Qualifier race number 4. Fourth Gart. It is a win today. Ella Vink takes the win here. What a ride there. So hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's a well-known phrase and saying, but do you know what? It's so true, particularly when we get into our finals with competitors from all around the globe descending on to the roads of MyWhoosh. My name's Matt Payne. I'm going to be putting words to the action. I am indeed solo once again as my co-commentator still on international UCI duty and has been visiting the MyWhoosh stand. Well, where has Emma been? She's been in Switzerland. She's been in Zurich. And guess what? We're going to Zurich as well. This is a first. 2 people commentating from the 2 different places in the world on exactly the same course, but 2 totally different courses, because this is the World Championship course that's in use and has been for the last 9 days, because the UCI and MyWhoosh in partnership for the esports finals, and this is a replica of that same course, meter to meter perfect, apparently, according to the main man, Matt Smithson. We'll see whether that's true. 2 big climbs on the way in to the main part of the circuit. And as you can see, the lap is 26k or so round. And that means that you have those climbs twice in our women's race of 35 kilometers. Now, 2 climbs are quite steep. Steepest part on the Lindenhoff climb, around about the 13% mark. The steepest on the Whitcomb climb, 10%, but the top of the plateau is bumpy, and with gradients up to 12 and 15%. It's going to be tough. 4 race starts as always, categories 1, 2, 3, and 4. Category 4 going first. 5 minutes between each of those categories on the road. And category 4, well, this is the final. So we have our teams. We have in total 25 teams in our women's competition. In Category 4, 7 teams, the Intercontinental squad. We've got Kintsugi, the Pedal Dancers, the Petite Four squad as well. We have the squad from Phoenix, the Strong Girls, and the What Women. Big 3 teams here. Well, very difficult to call, but Pedal Dancers, Phoenix, and What Women on form at the moment. Will that be the case when we get there? We'll run you through those teams in a moment. It's time to get our riders underway here in Zurich, the start of our monthly final race here on the Sunday Race Club. Category 4 are up and riding. If you're new to the Sunday Race Club, we have our qualifiers on the Sundays from the first Sunday of the month through to the penultimate Sunday. That means that there were 4 in September. Today's our final. And in the final, the riders not just competing for their own prizes individually, but also for the team prize. Teams made up of 3 to 5 riders to qualify. 7 teams in Category 4. 5 prizes, which means that the competition is going to be hot to try and take away the team prize as well. And we'll run through those prize values a little bit later once we've got all our riders up and riding. This start heading out into town. Basically, you're coming out from the lakeside here. This is where the start finish of the Road World Championships and the Para Road Championships have been taking place. And you can just see this country in here. The MyWhoosh stand just out actually on the right of here as the riders come in through. We're going to take this left-hand turn over the bridge, over the river at the end of the lake to go into town. This section with the tram tracks with the cobbles, quite a tricky little section, but one of the flatter sections. There is a little kicker as we start to come out before we hit the climb, the Lindenhoff climb, coming at 1.7k. Let's run you through our team riders in Category 4. So Intercontinental represented by Flores, Thompson, Belly, and Kirchner. We've got Kintsugi represented by Lenore, Clarissa Garcia, and Tangulon. Pedal dancers have a Fiedler, a Gaviria Arias, a Bogrun and Bago. Petite Four squad, Bremner, Goodall, Lloyd and Francis. Phoenix with Navarez Hoyas, De Silva Kirchner, Navarez, Sarasuk and Ferran. The Strong Girls squad, and they're represented by Barco, Solazano, Tajeros. And we have the What Women squad with Azat Valencia, Vink, Itzit, and Aitken. This is going to be really interesting to see how these riders play the team tactics. Now, 2 riders not in twos, Liz Smithson and Salama Al-Kayabi, which means that they don't have to play the team game. That might be sacrificing themselves, or it might be being protected, but they can be a lone agent. Annalyn Taderos on the left of your screen from the Strong Girls squad with Adriana Barco and Angie Solazano. They're going to be looking to score in the team prizes today. You could just see the shot in on our riders as they approach the start of climb number 1. This is the Lindenhoff climb. This is a climber which in profile, basically, you've got a kicker to start off with, where we go in nice and steep, about 6% to kick off with. It levels off slightly, but not totally flat. It then kicks again. The steepest point going to be around about the 15% marker on the way up this climb. But of course, we're going to see what these riders do. This has been testing the riders out on the circuit all the way through the World Road and Para Championships. It's testing our riders now. One rider already just distance from the back of this main group, the peloton, though, climbing up onto the hillside for the first time here. And remember, we're going to have this at the end of the race as well. The Lindenhoff climb and the Witticon climb will finish off today's race, and then we will have a 600-meter run to our finish. Now, alongside the tram, you can see our riders going to push on the front already, just starting to stretch things out. Bremner in the mix here with Francis Ferron, Idzik, but it's Sarasu who is opening up the lead at the moment. Has tapped out a nice rhythm up that steep section, and then if you look on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see that we've got a long line of riders. So, Category 4, on to the first climb. The climb of the Lindenhoff here in Zurich, down in the pens, ready to go. Category 3, waiting up and ready to ride. Now, the Caramel Koalas lined up alongside the Gear Goddesses, the Grind My Gear squad, La Rosa Blanca, the Pedal Pals, Also in the mix, along with Volcano and the Whoosh Wheelers, the Rosa Blanca, Grind My Gears, and Caramella Koalas just about holding those top 3 spots if you were to take this on predictions. However, you can predict nothing when we're on a brand new course. You can predict nothing when it's the finals, and we have all these different tactics being played out, all these different things are taking effect on the riders. We're in with Stefani Piccolo as we get ready to go in category 3. You can see the riders really starting to wind this up as they were in the pen there just to make sure they got a good launch out. Out from the pens we go. It's going to be 2 left-hand turns, basically big tight left again, and round we go. Then we track down onto the main lakeside road, which is where we then will head out on the course proper. Now, let's take you through some of the squad before we get too far into the race. The Caramella Koalas, Hyde, Sonnerson, Jones, Jazikowicz, and Kennedy. We've got the Gear Goddesses, Giraldo, Lopez de Grazia, Tonkinson, and Schultz. The Grind My Gear squad, De Silva, Hadlock, Kukkonen, Piccolo, Howeiler. La Rosa Blanca, Montoya, Vasquez, Tokova, Johnson, and Herrero. The Pedal Pals have Zuluga, as well as Elos, Bryson, and Simkin. Team Golden Light going to be captained by Golden Light, but not going to be in with a chance of qualifying because it's not hitting those minimum 3 to get into the prizes, but still racing there again in with Stefani Piccolo at the moment, the rider that we said in that Grind My Gears squad. Volcano, well, they've got Piella, Van Rossum, Warren, and Dowling. And the Whoosh Wheelers, well, Geraldo Montoya, Zabala, Becker, and Joy Meyer. All in those Whoosh Wheelers. Going to be very difficult to call this one because of the gradients. Now, Piccolo is a good climber. She's an explosive rider, but has she got the power to make it count? 4 categorized climbs, 1 sprint, but there is very little flat. And in lots of ways, this is reminiscent of maybe something like the Thelma Reeb course, or potentially the Heritage course, or maybe even the Belgium courses, because they are steep climbs and we've got 4 of them, and the bits in between are not simple. The easiest section, the start and finish section, and you can see category 4, they've been going 7 minutes 15 seconds now, 3.2k in. We're in with Natalia Izik and in with the leading group here to Jeros, Bago, Alzek, Goodall, Izik, Bogren, Aiken, Francis, all in the mix here on the climb. But this climb really stringing these riders out, 13% as they went through that section. It's continuing to climb, and you can see how steep this is. The banner is up and around, a slight left then right hand bend, but the power that's having to be put down here really breaking up 3 distinct groups on the road with gaps in between. However, there are more subtle gaps in between each of these riders as well, and remember the gaps are compressed. The time gap from Tajeros to Alzate, it's showing us 4 seconds. It doesn't look very much. The thing is, when it's this steep, it really does take time to get along and through the course, climbing away from the lakeside that you can see in the background. 16% as you come up over this steep section here, and then it's going to ease off. This is going to be critical. Can Tajeros pull clear that lead group? Will they be able to close that gap down? Here comes Bago, chasing hard here, 3.5 watts per kilo, 3.6 at the moment. Idzik doing 4s, as 4s from Francis as they come over the top here. Tajeros is going to take away the points here because she should have the fastest time through the section. Each of the riders in our climbing sections looking to score points. You get points for each and every climb. The person with the most points at any one time has that polka dot skin suit. The same is true of the sprints, but only 1 sprint today, the Zurich sprint down in the base. When we get back round, going almost back past the start pens. But Tajeros at the moment leading out category 4 as they go over the top of the climb. Groups 1 and 2 on the way through. In category 3, they're on the way into the climb. Category 2 on that start line. And some more great teams. 7 teams in Category 4, 7 teams in Category 3, 6 teams in Category 2, the E-Crew squad, the Globetrotters and the Sunday Crew. The E-Crew and the Globetrotters probably up in the top 3, I suspect. The Wanderers, the Velociraptors and the Velocity Vikings. And this is almost impossible to call because every single squad has got big hitters in it and every single squad has the potential to score. Only 2 riders not in the teams, and that is Debbie Van Dyke and Lorena Beltran. 29 riders, 6 teams on the start sheets. Away we go in Category 2, in with Kimberly Miller. Big kickoff from the start line. 6+ watts per kilo being put down by the riders kicking off at the front of this race. It is a slight left-right that takes them in towards the lakeside here, and then they'll turn on to the course itself, where they'll be coming back around in another 26 sports. Okay, time to come back in through the streets of Zurich along the lakeside. They're going to head out, taking this turn now. And Category 2, the whole of the bunch really close together here. Very few gaps. Now, let's run you through these teams very quickly. Just in with Kimberly Miller of the Sunday Crew. Her teammates are Bullowa, as well as Harmsen, Bergin, and Garea. That's in the Sunday Crew. So 5 riders from the Sunday Crew in their squad. 5 riders for the Globetrotters. That's Jared Miller, Wagner, Giannatti, Paredo, and Vittori. 5 riders from the E-Crew. Poulsen, Davison, Gonzalez, Ruiz, Sanchez, and Cassani. We've got 4 riders from the Velociraptors. That's Walkenhurst, Kong, Smithers, and McAlpine. And 4 riders from the Velocity Vikings. Embring, Svarstrom, Montgomery, and London. So, lots of riders in with a chance of scoring not only individual prizes, but team prizes. 3 riders to count. Fastest 3 riders' times added together give you that team time. Fastest time from the team combined is the leading team. Second fastest in second place, and so on. All the riders, of course, in all the teams and all the categories subject to verification, as are the results. So we will bring them live on your screens at the moment. But, of course, that is subject to change. 3 categories out on the road. Category 4, 3, and 2. Category 4 in red, 3 in blue. Category 2 in green. Just riding in with Dana Davidson at the moment. Davidson riding for the E-Crew squad. Kim Bonner-Miller, one of the riders for the Wanderers, and the Filipino rider going to be mixing it up, I'm sure, as we go up on to the climb. And you can see here there are 3 of our Wanderer squad: Angelica Altamirano, Kim Bonner-Miller, and Brittany Litton down there. And the riders at the moment nicely sat in this bunch. Category 2, always a tough ride, but great to see these 3 riders. But all looking pretty cool and composed at the moment as they make their way down the lakeside. You can just see the MyWhoosh stand off to the left-hand side on this particular section here as we come down in towards the climb in Category 2. They're coming in towards the base of the climb. Right-hand side of your screen, you can see Category 3 coming up to the end of the Lindenhoff climb. So Category 2 coming into the climb. Category 3 going over the top of the climb. The polka dot jersey held by Nicola Takova, scoring the fastest time so far up. And whilst we saw Category 4 break into small groups, Category 3, well, they are one big bunch at the front with a few riders detached off the back. Little bits of splits as we go into the downhill. The leading group at the moment, though, that's looking reasonably strong. Looks like we've got about 9 riders in that leading group, but the gap is not big enough, I think, to be definitive. You can see the chasing riders behind. We dip down, and you can see top right-hand side of your screen. It's a long descent down with Herrera here chasing with Kennedy. They're going to drop down, and then we go into the second of our climbs. So at the end of this descent, we go straight into the Whitcomb climb, which is the second climb, longer, slightly higher average gradient, but the slopes are not as steep. So 3 categories away to Jerris on that Whitcomb climb at 6.2k in Category 4. In Category 3, they're at 4.2k, just going over between climb 1 and 2. On climb number 1, our Category 2, and on the start line, Category 1, our riders in those yellow jerseys. 5 teams. absolutely impossible to split these teams. So there is no such thing as the big three. It's the big five teams here. That is for sure. Ablock International, Effetto Skier, Fully Calibrated, Peak Performance, and Sweat Sensations. 5 riders for Peak Performance, 5 riders for Ablock International. 4 for Effetto Skier, Fully Calibrated as well, have 4, and 3 for the Sweat Sensations. 5 teams, 24 riders, Bassoni, Rona and Mishandi, the riders not in teams, but riding individually. So they have their own agenda that they can play to. They don't have to worry about that team competition. The last group of riders away on the last race in our women's competition in the Sunday Race Club is a go. It is the Category 1 away here at the very end of September as we head out on towards the course. All the Category 1 riders out from the pen. The big prizes at the end of the month for that team competition will play a part in those team taxes, I'm sure. And it means that everybody really needs to race to the end of this race. There's no sitting up and taking it easy if you're in a team, because you know that you may well be that third counter, because you never know what will happen. Even if you're 4th or 5th on the road for a 5-rider team, you know that anything can happen. If there's a technical issue, then you're going to be in trouble if you haven't been pushing on. Now, big kick off the start here by Rona, who's ripping it up. The Polish rider on the front at the moment, going for a long one out from the start, making it hard early on. The rest of the riders, though, not panicking here. We're not seeing a big reaction at the moment. So the chasing riders at the moment not looking to close down Rona. Rona's topping out a good pace here, sitting just under 5 watts per kilo, getting an early lead potentially into that climb. But Rona solo on the front behind Mika Soderstrom, the rider from Ablock International, one of 3 Swedish riders on that squad. Up at the front there, Joanna Tidholm also looking at the front of this race. 2 Swedish riders in the Fully Calibrated squad, Engstrom and Tidholm. And also on the chase, Kalman in the mix back here. And Kalman at the moment, she's riding well for the Effetto Skier squad, the Polish rider, along with Kolowitz on the Effetto Skier squad. You can see Effetto Skier there, Kalman, Kolowitz, both the Poles. Then we've got Sophie Schiavani of Italy. They're also joined by Vicky Whiteloys in the mix from Australia. They'll be looking to make it count today, and being smart about using your energy, I think, is going to be really critical. New course, unridden, untested, in the sense that we've not raced on this as part of the Sunday Race Club. It is part of the new Zurich, the UCI World's World on MyWhoosh. You can jump on board and ride it on a number of opportunities. At the moment, though, the riders who are really racing hard, well, all 4 of our categories on the race route at the moment, and really pushing it to limit. Category 2, they're over the top of the first climb, at the top of the Lindenhoff climb. You can see Ursula Kasani has got this. So Ursula Kasani with the polka dot jersey, 4:26.506, only a 1/10 of a second or so in front of Vittori. Wagner in the mix, Gonzalez, Ruhr, Prado, Miller, London, Embrings, Farstrom, a real who's who of who we expect to be in the top 5 individually, and all their teams getting off to a good start with those riders in that lead group. The group's fracturing on that climb. Now, I'm going to head back in to the leaders in Category 3 who are starting to catch riders in Category 4. You can see them working the way through on this climb. This is the start of the Whitcomb climb. The Whitcomb climb runs from 5.1 to 7.6k, and at the moment they're just over a k into this. This is a tricky climb here because it's not the steepest, but it does have a step in the middle of it, a very distinctive step. The first part goes up to about 8%. It averages about 6% on the first part of the climb. And then when you're about 3/4 of a kilometre in, it levels out 0.8, 0.1%. They've gone past that flat step, which lasts about 325 metres. And then they're onto this second section and this little kicker. Now, again, just pushing these riders 8.1% at the moment. took over leading up here. You can see on the left hand side of your screen, really putting the power down, staying focused on the riders around her. And it's a real pack. Johnson in here, Van Rossum, Simkin, De Silva, and Vasquez in the mix here. This is surely going to pull this group apart. Remember, when we get to the top of this climb, it is not flat by any stretch of the imagination. And we've got a long run across the top with some really steep gradients, right up to 12, 13, 14% before we drop down, a long descent in. We then have a little climb back over one of the outlying hills at the side of the lake before you drop back in to the lakeside and then head back towards the climbs once again. Van Rossum at the moment leading up category 3, to Jaros leading up category 4. 800 meters separating the riders, but to Jaros about to approach the banner, showing that she is at the moment the strongest rider here in category 4. It's going to be maximum points here. She's certainly going to take the fastest time up here, and at the moment to Jaros with that gap back to Francis, to Idzik, to Bago, to Alzate, to Goodall. That's 5 chasing riders chasing the leader. So number 1 is to Jaros. Then we have 5 riders behind as they come up over the top of the climb. That gap is going to be about 37 seconds at the top of the Whitcomb climb in category 4. And at the moment, the leader just with a gap now. Let's get back down into category 1. You can see that we have got some serious pressure being put onto Madana Degamashandi here. You can see you're focused on the left-hand side of your screens on the race at the moment. She's got Monica Rona for company. They're giving away at the moment, unfortunately, 20 seconds to the leading group. And this is where Madana Degamashandi's grit and determination that we know that she's got. She's a fearsome competitor. She's going to have to dig in deep here. She's got good company in the shape of Monica Rona, but they are chasing Whitelaw and the Co all up in this leading group. The very front of this race, though, really putting the pressure on. We're at 3.4k. We are coming up towards the top of the first climb. At the moment, it's Amelia Velt along with Catherine Fua, who are really nailing this, and they are both riding for the Sweat Sensations team along with Merle Bruni, who's in the mix. Soderstrom, Kolczynski, Bjarhead are there, but at the moment, Fua, Soderstrom, Velt, Klaczynski, Bjarhead, and Bruni, your top riders in category 1 going over the top. Fua goes through first, the Swiss rider on what is virtually home roads for her on her home nation, making her way up over the top in the lead. Bjarhead just about in contact here. And that means 6 riders within shouting distance of the leader. Behind, the gaps are not huge, but as we've seen with the rest of the groups, we've got a descent and then we come into the climb. So here are the times as they came over the top. Fua going up that climb just outside of 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 seconds. Then you can see Soderstrom, Velt, Kolczynski, Bruni, and Bjarhead. The first 6 riders only separated by 1.6 of a second. 7th and 8th going over the top. That's Holcroft and Kokolowitz. 4 seconds down. Then it's Engstrom at the thick end of 10 seconds, as well as Kelsey Jade Van Shaw, the 2 fully calibrated riders chasing the leaders in there. So the chase group starting to reform. Hermansen in there, Penner, Holcroft chasing. The leaders at the moment, though, 6 riders at the front of this race who have gone clear, and at the moment this is going to be very, very tough. In fact, I'll make that 7 riders in that leading group just going through. So it may well be that we've got another rider just jumped in on board. In fact, this is our chasing group. My apologies. So this is chase group. I'd look at it. Just going to double check that as they go through. No, it's not. It is the leading group. So Kokolowitz, Soderstrom, Bjarhead in there. There is the lead group with Kolczynski in the mix. It's 8 seconds back to Penner, Kalman, Hermansen, Giovanni, Tidholm. This is all over the road. We've only just completed the first climb. We're going down towards the second climb. We're at 4.8k and they're smashed all over the road already. And this World Championships course, you want a tough course for the World Championships. You want to sort out a rider. Well, it's our finals race route as well. And quite literally at this moment in time, there are riders out competing on the self-same course in real life out in Zurich. So as they go through the banner, they're on to climb number 2. First part of this climb, the shorter section up onto the top of the first step, and then we've got the longer section to follow. It's only about 700 meters, this first section, to that leveling off that you can see top right-hand side of your screen. That doesn't mean these riders are going to take it easy in their pursuit of the leaders in front. Leading group in front. This is the chasing group. Tidholm, Holcroft, Kalman, Giovanni in the mix here. They've got a 9-second gap at the moment to our race leaders. They can see the group in front as they come onto this climb. This is going to be critical. This could be decisive already. We could be already seeing those top 5 places going up the road. However, because this is our monthly final, we have our team competition in play as well, and that is going to make things very, very difficult in terms of if you wanted an easier ride, sitting at the back, think, well, I'm not in the mix now, if the prizes are going to ease up, your teammates are not going to be so happy. So the leaders in Category 1 on the start of the second climb. Annalyn Tajeros now traversing across the top of the plateau. She's at 10k in, and the road is not even close to flat. There's not any flat on here. This is just up and down constantly. You can see we're coming up in towards one of our big kickers. It's going to be another big 8% climb coming up, and this constant changing gradient really testing our riders. Tajeros at the moment, though, continuing to tap out a serious pace here. 1 minute clear of Idzik, Bago, Francis, Elze, and Goodall. That's an extension of the 37-second lead she had at the top of the Whitcomb climb. That is a big gap to open up, and Tajeros really, really looking to take this away at the front. A serious performance going down here by Tajeros in the monthly finals to open that gap up. Has she gone too early? Well, time will tell. As we come up towards the top of the climb at 7.5k, it is the Category 2 race leaders, London, Vittori, Cassani, Wagner, Miller, Prado, all in the mix here, all kicking on very strongly as they make the way past Category 4 riders and Category 3 riders. Joanna Warren in Category 3, seeing these Category 2 riders coming up onto a hill. So is Kekkonen. This is a real fast run by the Category 2 to get to the top of the climb first. That polka dot jersey going to Serena Vittori, a very, very strong climber. Somebody who, when the gradient gets steep, really can climb well. Now, Vittori's on that glow trotter squat with Prado, Gianatti, Wagner, and Jaramillo. Going to be interesting to see what she can do up against the E-Crew. Ursula Cassani on the left-hand side of your screen. Out of the saddle once again as this gradient goes up. You can see this next kicker goes up, then it eases off a little bit. Cassani sits back down again, keeping those revs ticking round, keeping the pace moving. You can see the stats for Cassani, top center of the big screen. Currently putting cadence 90, 88. So rolling around that 90 marker at the moment, putting down the watts in the draft. This leading group in and underneath the banner that indicates at the end of the race. They're just going underneath it, and they'll see that when they come through. So that was a little bit of a dry run for our finish. Our Category 1 will be watching as they go through to know exactly where that finishes. And that's one of the great things about this course, where we lap out and round and back in again, and we repeat our first 2 climbs as our last 2 climbs. It means the riders get a good look at the finish and where that finish line is exactly. So Gianatti, Prado, Vittori, Miller, and co up in the front of Category 2. Category 1, you can see Cornelia Engstrom out of the saddle, kicking down the Swedish rider in this group here, keeping the pace really strong, chasing the riders in front, being chased by riders behind as well. These riders all over the road on the Whitcomb climb moment here. They've got a fair distance to go to the summit of this climb, the top of this climb at 7.6k, a little dip, then it continues to climb afterwards as well. But this is the run in towards their finishing line in the future when they come back round again. And you can just see as these riders come up in between the buildings, the road is unrelenting, 9% gradient here as they chase the leading riders in front. Velt just being distanced off the leading pack at the moment. That's the nearest rider to this group. They are strung all over the road with the pressure being applied at the front of this race. It's going to be a real fast run up here. Next time round, it's a fast run this time. Here's Velt chasing down the riders in front. Kolowitz 6 seconds in front of her. 8 seconds in front of Soderstrom, 25 seconds. That is going to be Kolczynski, the leading group of riders together. Kolczynski and Fua, along with Bruni. 3 riders in the lead. Bruni, Kolczynski and Fua. Soderstrom sitting in 4th place. Kolowitz in 5th. Velt in 6th. Then the riders behind, the big block of riders behind, chasing hard. They're 6 seconds back. They're not out of the running for a top 5. The leading 3, though, here we go. This is the run. Remember, the polka dot banner on this course comes before the finishing line as we see the climb aiming to stop. The climb point stopping at the polka dot banner. We then have a 600-meter run to the finishing line proper when we come round next time round. This time round, they've got a lot more climbing and a lot more pain heading their direction as they go in and through. Underneath the banner they go. Kolczynski, Bruni and Fua go through. Fua takes the fastest jersey, the fastest time up that climb combined with the time up the Lindenhoff, because remember those points accumulate through each and every climb. So the polka dot jersey going to the rider who's amassed the most points. 3 leaders through, 30 seconds up the road. You've got Fua, you've got Bruni in the leading group, along with Kolczynski. They are in group 1. They went through first. You can see there the time up that second climb, 6 minutes 13. Nothing separating. It's half a second between Kolczynski and Bruni. Kolczynski with the fastest time up the climb. Then Soderstrom and Kolowitz are going up there with a very similar pace to Kalman, Van Shaw, Engstrom, Holcroft and Tidholm. Not a lot separating those riders that go up, but it is Soderstrom and Kolowitz who are in that second group at the moment. And they, at the moment, are giving away what is going to be about 30 seconds or so to the leading riders at the top of the Whitcomb climb. Now, we've seen in Category 4 that gap open to a minute from the top of the Whitcomb as we go over the tops. Are we going to see the same between Group 1 and Group 2 on the road in Category 1? Well, it's looking like the riders behind have got a tough ask. Let's take a look a little bit further around this race route. We're just coming off the top of one of these big bumps on the top of the circuit. We're at 11.7k into the circuit. So we've just gone over one of the higher points on this course. We've got another high point comes in at what's going to be around about the 14.5k marker. And then the steep kickers on the summit of the plateau, they come just after 16 and just before 17k. So between 16 and 17 kilometers into this course, expect that gradient to really kick up. There's a couple of really steep sections. Just looking on my detailed course profiles, a couple of sections into the red zones there, going up in to that 10-15% mark as you go up and over the top. Going to be very interesting before we drop down that big long descent where the pace picks up. You can see we're up high at the moment here in the Zurich plateau, just above Zurich, just looking down on the lake. Category 3 leaders catching groups in Category 4, just about to catch back Ella Vink here as they come up onto the heels of Vink. It's Piccolo leading this group through from Hyde, Johnson, Van Rossum, Hadlock. A real select who's who at the front of the race. Hadlock at the moment already looking hot at the minute. There's some serious pressure being put on our riders early on in the race here today. We're only 12 kilometers into our 35-kilometer race, and already the riders have had to work incredibly hard. The leading group of Category 3 really rocketing the way in and through, and again you can just see this course profile is just undulating up and down non-stop as they come up and through. A little bit of distance to our Category 4 leaders on the road, but you can see there's only what's going to be I think a few riders up the road. It's not going to be many in front of the Category 3 leaders. The Category 4 leaders already well and truly on the way over the plateau. Category 1, they're onto the top of the plateau, 9.8k in. 3 leaders on the left-hand side of your screen in Category 1. We've got Bruni, Fua, and Velt. They are on the, Fua, Bruni, and Kolczynski. The leaders as they go up over the top here. You can see the 3 riders together, 29 seconds back to Velt, Tidholm, Van Shore, and Holcroft. So it looks like the chasing group has come back together again. And the second group on the road really starting to bring those gaps down. Now, Category 2, again, up on the top of the plateau, just in with German Prado, one of our regular riders on the Sunday Race Club, a real favourite on an aggressive, punchy course, and looking very strong at the moment, just taking on board more fluids. You can see everybody working really hard very early on in this race, but this is a big group. You got Svarstrom, Giannatti, Prado, Cassani, Wagner in here. Miller's in this group as well. It's looking like that's going to be about 9 to maybe potentially 10 riders. Now, tricky to see exactly how many in there. Vittori in there and London, Embring, Wagner. Yeah, definitely going to be around about that 10 rider marker, and that is a big group. There's still plenty of distance and plenty of steep gradients, so getting the pacing right is going to be critical today. You've got to have something to kick on the steep slopes, but you need to be able to do some recovery on the flat sections. You can't recover too much. You can't let the gaps go. So it's really going to make riders work hard. The World Championships course from Zurich really testing our riders today. In the women's finals, it's going to be the same in the men's because they're also going to be heading into Zurich. A tough day at the office, I think, for everybody, no matter where you are in the races, which race you're running in. Sunday Race Club finals really bringing it in to our riders as we take a look at Kimberly Miller. Just taking a deep breath here up on the top, getting some recovery. Don't going to try and get that heart rate down, I'm sure. 175 at the moment. And just if you can try and use these sections, it's hard to get that heart rate down when you're trying to take on board fluids. You're trying to keep with that group. You don't want the pace to drop too much because you know you've got Jaramillo and Litton, the chasing riders behind at 20 seconds. You know what that time gap is to the riders behind you. You don't want them to come up. You don't want to increase the numbers, but equally, you need to save something because they're going to go into another of our steep sections very shortly. Category 2, right-hand side of your screen. Category 1 leaders, left-hand side of your screen. Still the same 3 riders clear. Still 30 seconds, the gap to the chasing group behind. The chasing group contesting 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on. But all of our leaders on your screens at the moment really working their way out and around this course. This is the big group in Category 4, being chased by the leaders in Category 3. Category 2 are well on the way up, and Category 1, they are up over the top of the climb. A real ferocious race. Now, we've talked about the prizes, because we talked about this being the finals and with the team prize in operation. Quick recap for you. Team riders need to have teams of a minimum of 3, a maximum of 5 riders in their team, and those team prizes come into play because this is our monthly final. So you can see we're on the left-hand side of the screen. Our riders are competing for the individual classification in all our categories and the team classification. So individually, 2,160 AED for the win, down to 432 in 4th category, 10,800 AED for the first team, down to 1,080 AED in 5th. Now, that is in Category 4. In Category 3, as we step up from our standard category to the first of the categories above, that is an increase in prize money. So you can see we've gone up to 3,600 AED for first in the individual classification, and the first team, remember 3 to 5 riders in that team, 18,000 AED. Now, in category 2, where we've stepped up again from category 3, 6,000 AED for the win individually through to 1,200 for 5th. In the team competition, a whopping 30,000 AED. You've got a team of 3, that's 10,000 AED each. In addition to the fact that if you're in a good team and you're in with a chance of the win, the odds are you've got people in that top 5 as well. You are going to be really taking home some big prizes. So really, really important for our riders to ride wherever they are and whatever classification. If you're in category 1, they're going to need no telling 10,000 AED for first, 8,000 for second, 6,000 for third, 4,000 for fourth, 2,000 for fifth. Individually, in the team competition, 5th place, 5,000 AED, 4th, 10,000, 3rd, 20,000, 2nd, 30,000. And if you are in our winning category 1 team today, 50,000 AED. 50,000 AED for first place in the category 1 team competition. You can see why the Sunday Race Club is so valued by our riders and why they all want to be in the winning team and in those top 5 positions individually as well. Really, really important for our riders. And quite literally, there are people putting their kids through university based on the fact that they are getting money riding in the competition. It is really, really important to our riders. It allows our riders to really focus on racing. It's a fantastic way to reward our riders, and it's a great incentive for them to race to the finish, particularly in that team competition where you've got to keep riding. You never know what will happen, even if you're rider number 5. If the 2 riders in front have issues, if they don't get their pacing, their fueling, their drinking correct, they could blow, they could really have a problem. It might be that they break the chain on the bike, on the turbo trainer. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong. If that happens, you could be in that mix. So the time really, really critical, irrespective of what category you're in. If you are not working in AED, don't worry. We do have Emma's exchange returning next week, when Emma will be back with us for the first of our qualifiers in October, and we'll be working our way around the globe as usual to find what that is in different currencies around the globe, based on quite often what's happening in the racing and who's doing what in which category. So if you want to find out what that is at the different currency, maybe you work in zloty, or you work in euros, your dollars, or whatever you work in, and then we try and get all the way around the globe. It doesn't always happen, but we do try and get close. Now, on the next of our kickers here in category 4, you can see Gina Van Rossum. Sorry, in category 3, Gina Van Rossum in the blue here, just kicking on. Johnson responding with Hadlock and De Silva. This is one of the last big kicks before we drop down off the back of the circuit here, and we start to descending in a big way here. This is going to be really, really critical, because if you get this right on the descent, it's going to make a huge difference and get that pace, that momentum building fast. The group can chase hard. A few riders still down the road. You've got Francis, Idzik, Alzate and co. in category 4 in front of the leaders of category 3. The category 3 leaders on the right-hand side of your screen. The category 2 leaders not that far behind, 1.1k behind, 16.7k in. And you can see they're on these little kickers that take us in towards the big descent. A big group of riders: Prado, Lundin, Miller, Wagner, Embring, Vittori. Looks like they're all in this mix. So it's going to be, I think, about 8 riders strong now, this group in category 2. Lytton off the back of the group, though, by the look of it here. So going to be all about this leading group, I suspect, coming in. The gaps behind have opened, and it's going to take a real concerted chase. Now we have a long, long downhill. This descent does not finish until you get to over the 20k into the race route. So it's a 3k descent pretty much off the top of the climb down into the base of the valley. And as soon as we reach the base of the valley, we kick back over what is another almost 2K climb before we drop back down past our start line once again. London in here, really working hard out of the saddle here, kicking that round. Great revs though. Now at the saddle at 87 revs per minute, really trying to wind this as the gradient kicks in. This is the run over the top into the descent. You cannot afford to get dropped at this stage. You've got to be in. Farstorm and London towards the back of this group. They've just gone past Gina de Grazia, the Category 3 rider, getting a grandstand seat to this real fight in Category 2 as they go over the top here. The pace will pick up. If you're in the leading group, you're going to be rolling with that pack, taking the draft, and it looks like they've all done it. They're all in there. This is going to be the lead group into the descent. The gap back behind in excess of 10 seconds. I reckon it's going to be about 15, 20 seconds or so to the next Category 2 group. And that means, there we go, 24 seconds, I think it was, I just saw on our screens, to the next Category 2 group. So the leading riders in Category 2 over the top of the plateau, dropping off the side here. This is the big steep descent on the way down. As you drop down, you know you're nearing the end of the descent when you get about a 90-degree left-hand turn and then a real sharp, tight right-hand turn. So you drop down, a 90 left, a almost 180 degree right as you whip back around again, replicating the World Championships course. Our riders into this big descent, and quite appropriately, it's raining in Zurich on our Category 2 riders as they go down the descent. It has been absolutely biblically wet in the races towards the back end of the week. Real tough racing in Zurich. Sun was out early in the week. It's got wetter and colder as time goes by. And none of those issues, of course, on MyWhoosh as you're riding in through across the plateau with our Category 1 leaders. So for Kulczynski and Bruni, they're not going to break up on this plateau. What they have to be aware of is the riders behind. Now, that gap was 30 seconds. It's sitting about 36 seconds at the moment. Tidholm, Welt, Soderstrom, Holcroft and Van Shaw, Engstrom in there. Two of these riders out of this group are in a position where they could score big prizes by being in the top 5. However, every single rider in this group, I think, has to look at what they're going to be able to do team-wise, because Kolowitz, Holcroft, Tidholm, Kalman, all racing for those team prizes, and they've got riders that they know are going to be in there. Remember, of course, top 3 riders, and in the leading group, Fua and Bruni in that lead group for the Sweat Sensations. Amelia Velt, who's in this group, would be their third counter, but do not discount the rest of the teams in here, because remember, you've got riders in here who are going to be fighting for that second and third team prize if it stays the same at the moment. The big advantage for the Sweat Sensations is that Fua and Bruni are up the road by 30 seconds. And that really does put the pressure on everybody else to chase Amelia Velt. While she can sit here and just play her own game here, she knows she's got 2 leaders up the front. If the status quo was to be maintained, they would be in with that team prize win. But anything can happen, and you only need a rider to blow. 30 seconds will disappear in the blink of an eye. Into the descent they go. This is the leaders. The lead chasing group in Category 1 over the top of the summit. They're going to go and into this big descent. The gradient's easing off on the top of our screens. It's about to hit 0. There we go. And into the descent we go. Time to pick up the speed. This group has the advantage of numbers. There is a bigger draft effect. You get more chance to rest, more chance to sit in the group. If this group works together, we are talking a group of about 8 riders here. On the descent down, they will have the potential to pull back the race leaders. However, if any 1 or 2 of them sit up, they will disrupt that chase, and it may well be that they are throwing away the chances of being in the top 3. They've got to work now if they want to pull it back. This is their opportunity. A little bit further down the course, on the way up the climb and just coming over, this is that little bump. So we drop off the top of the plateau. We then go over one of the small foothills in the in Zurich, just before you reach the lakeside. This is that little foothill going over the top. It's actually in the suburbs of Zurich itself. And this, the leading group on the road. To Tajeros, the leader in Category 4, up at the front of the race, is clear of Goodall, Bago, Idzik and Alze. And this group of riders, if they get the timing right here, have got a good opportunity here, because this is the Category 3 leaders coming behind. They're going to catch them potentially on the way into a downhill. And if Idzik, Alze, Bago and Goodall start picking up the pace at the right time, they are got the possibility that they will go into that descent in a big group. We descend, and then we've got the long flat run across on towards the Lindenhoff climb. If they go with this group, they're going to join now. They've got to try and get onto the back of this train. Do not let that group go. This is going to be key, and this is the potential moment where those riders who've got a kick can go. We are seeing that at the moment. Idzik and Bago have managed to go into the front of the group. What have the rest of the riders done? You can't get caught napping here. You've got to kick nice and early to go in. We've certainly seen 2, if not 3 of those riders in there. I think the 4th rider's going to make it in as well. They have. So now we have that big chasing group. 1 rider clear of them, that is Tajeros, but the momentum surely here is with these riders. It looks to me the rider in a little bit of trouble here is Isabel Alze, just on the back of this group, having to work up 4 watts per kilo to get back onto the group. She's going to do it, but the pursuit is on. Tajeros on the front, on the downhill, really working hard here, 2 watts per kilo. The rest of the riders now, we're going to have to work to pull her back. It's a big gap, but it could well come down quickly if the group behind work fast. Remember, you've got Category 3 riders who are going to be looking for the Category 3 win, with the chasers in Category 4 all chasing. And Tajeros on the right-hand side of your screen, solo away with a chasing bunch on the descent down to the lakeside. You see the lakeside coming on the left-hand side of those screens. The blue on the radar is the edge of the lake. Got a drop down, got a little bit of a lift up and over the line, but it's not going to take them long to get there. On the way down, right-hand side, that big chase impact. On the left-hand side, well, these are the leaders in Category 2. Giannatti, Miller, Wagner in here, Prado in here. And at the moment, this is pretty much a lot of a stalemate between these riders who may well be leaving it to the end. Jennifer Ellis on the front of this group with Tanya Howana, very aware that they've got those Category 2 riders behind. So does Catherine Montoya. And the Category 3 riders will want to jump in as well. So again, the same thing that we saw with Category 4 and the Category 3 riders. Our Category 3 riders here, Jennifer Ellis, really needing to give it a kick now. Get into that group. Make sure you stay with them. Do not let them go. And you really hold on to the back of this group, and you've got a good chance of coming down here, reinforcing your position ahead of the riders behind. And of course, trying to close the gap down using the momentum of those riders. And it's a great way to get quicker, to get faster, to know what that pace is in the next category up. And it's one of the great things about the Sunday Race Club, by having the riders in Category 4 go first, then 3, 2 and 1. The Category 1 riders are working their way through, as is everybody behind, and it brings our groups together. It gives riders the opportunity to ride with people who are quicker and faster from a higher category. And that then is going to bring them on. That's how you get quick. That's how you get fast. That's why we see such improvements. If you want to join in, don't forget, MyWhoosh is available on iOS, on Android, and on Windows. You can download it from the MyWhoosh.com page. You can go on there for the links in to the various app providers. Have a quick look at the minimum specs, download it onto your computer. Come and join Catherine Montoya out and racing on the course at the moment, looking pretty smooth, just taking a breath, getting that recovery done. Great move here as they come down. A good pack on this descent, trying to get that heart rate down. It's one of the key things that you learn racing, much more so than just riding, is bringing your heart rate down, because by doing that, you can just jump to 139, get it right down there. It might have been at 160 plus on the climb. Get the heart rate down, give yourself some room, give yourself some sliding room, get some recovery done, let that body recover, ready for the kick in. it's one of those great things that happens when you're racing. There's lots of great races. We've got the MyWhoosh Classics. We've got, of course, the Sunday Race Club. We've got lots of great racing team time trials. We've got vets racing on there as well, elimination racing. Jump on board, come and have a race. Of course, come and join us on the Sunday Race Club. If you can meet the specs of the dual power recording, and there's some great videos on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel about that, then do come and join us. We'd love to have you on the Sunday Race Club. The more the merrier. Whether you're category 1, 2, 3, or 4, jump on board, have a ride, and get out and race. All the riders are verified. You don't need to worry about people being doing a flyer on you because they're just riding or making it up, or maybe not got it all accurately sorted. They get taken out. All the riders on the Sunday Race Club verified. Everybody going through that same procedure. There's a few more hoops to jump through than you would find in some other races, but that's because everybody gets checked, and you know that you're racing fair. Now, into the Zurich Sprint we go. I'm not sure we're going to see anybody with any legs left to sprint. This again is for points, and this is for the jersey, the green skin suit of the sprint leader. Now, the great advantage or disadvantage of this is that it's not worth anything other than kudos, bragging points, and a great picture if you take a screenshot of you in that green sprint jersey. It is a great way to know that you're kicking out, and we do see riders going for that, not so much so in the finals. Now, Serena Vittori, the fastest category 2 rider in the sprint through that time section, but you can just see that it's not going to count in terms of the overall, and as such, all these riders really just riding in and through. 35k race today. Our leaders in category 1 at the moment. That is Catherine Fuhr, Merle Bruni, her teammate, alongside Kristen Kolczynski. They are at 24.1k, so they have got just over 10k to go. Alan Tajeros, the rider furthest down the road, continuing to put that time trial pace down, 27.3k. However, 500 meters behind the category 3 leaders, with the category 4 chasers. At the moment, though, they are across the road, but this is their chance to pull back to Tajeros. Tajeros taking the left-hand turn. She's come off the start-finish straight of the World and Para World Championships, the Road Championships, and Tajeros at the moment really pushing around a big gear. 58 the cadence at the moment. You can see Tajeros really just pushing the power down on this section. The riders behind are going to be trying to close that gap down. It's sat at 1 minute though, and that is a big ask, but we have got the climbs to come. So here we go, all 4 groups of riders on your screens at the moment. So that is going to show you where they are. We're in with, though, our leaders in category 1. You've got Fuhr, Bruni, and Kolczynski. Your leaders at the moment, they are currently in and through that 200-meter sprint. I'll tell you something, they are absolutely flying here, but the pace has gone out somewhat. They're sitting at 3 watts per kilo, and I think at the moment they are very aware that they need to get some recovery done before we go into the Lindenhoff climb once again. They know they're the 3 best climbers. They know even if this group comes back together again, they could leave them on the climb. And I don't think it's much of a gamble for them. They could let this group come right up to them, and they know that they've got the fastest climbing legs on the way through. You can see the chasing group in the yellow jerseys of category 1, Holcroft, Van Schul, Engstrom, Kalman chasing hard, but a mix of every single jersey at the moment. We've got green, blue, yellow, and red jerseys on there, categories 1, 2, 3, and 4 across the top 10 fastest times. A surefire indicator that the riders in those upper categories, categories 1 and 2, are taking it easier on this section because their times are matching those of categories 3 and 4. Petra Aiken, the fastest category 4 rider, they're doing a fantastic ride going in through inside the top 10. But it's an indicator that these riders are getting recovery done. Long straight road here. This road down that takes us to the lakeside really is a flat one. There's no gradient change in it at all. The leaders in category 1 at the moment getting some recovery done, ready for that climb. They know that they're the fastest. Where will they go? Who's going to split it? Well, it's 1 in 3. It is a bigger game of odds here in this group. We have got the category 3 chasers. We've got the category 4 chasers and the category 3 leaders in here. So Stefani Piccolo working well at the moment. She's in this group. They're coming into the start of the Lindenhoff climb. Remember, this climb, this is 1.8 kilometers long. We will see how this is going to run because they are on to the climb. They turn the right-hand turn. The gradient starts to kick in. It's steepest at the top. We've got an initial kicker. It levels slightly and then it kicks again. Now, this is going to be really interesting. The category 3 should, in theory, leave the riders in the red. The category 4 chasers behind as they go on to the climb, and the superior climbing ability of category 3 should come to the fore. But do not discount category 4, because if you've got a great category 4 climber, they're going to be right up in this, and they're going to be spurred on by the fact they've got category 3 here. And this is where you could see a drop in the category 3 and category 4 riders. Anybody who can't hold this pace is going to find themselves in trouble. It's leveled off again. That initial kicks in, and the riders are going to be going, yep, my legs are in trouble, or I'm feeling really good today. It's going to be very interesting to see who's got that good feeling in the legs and who is feeling that those hills have taken their toll. And maybe he's just hanging on by the skin of their teeth at the moment to the pace, holding that pace, maybe just bluffing a little bit by kicking on the first part. It's going to be the time to show your cards. So I think when we come on to this second section, not sure anybody will want to leave it completely till the last climb, the Whitcomb climb. But we do have a descent between the Lindenhoff climb and the Whitcomb climb. It's not that long, but it's long enough at just over a K for riders to get back on again. Category 3 and 4 on that Lindenhoff climb. The Category 2 leaders coming into the base of the climb here. So Lindenhoff climb, start banner. Well, they're through it. They're not going to see that again. The next banner they're going to see will be the summit of the Lindenhoff climb. Then they will go through the Whitcomb climb. And remember, at the end of the Whitcomb climb, we've got 600 meters to take us to our 35K distance, which is going to really test our riders. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. Here we go. Category 2 leaders in. Embring, Giannatti opening up the throttles. Lundin staying with them. Jaramillo's in the mix here, but just being pushed a little bit further back. A real good riding here by our Category 3 riders with them as well. Looks like Jazikowicz in the mix here in the Category 3. Elos in the mix as well, riding strongly here. They're up near the front of this group. Howana de Grazia in here as well. But you're starting to see those green jerseys move to the fore. You've got to be in it to win it. You need to be right at the front of this group. Who can go with this from Category 3? Can anybody stay with the Category 2 leaders? There's 1 or 2 blue jerseys sitting in with the green. I think 3 of those blue jerseys have made it with them over the first of the kicks on the Lindenhoff climb, and it really has opened up the gaps here. Category 2, though, pretty much everybody making that. They are on the right of your screen, left-hand side of your screen. That's the polka dot banner coming into sight. Catherine Fu in the polka dot skin suit knows that this is going to be critical, as does Merle Bruni and Kristen Kolczynski. Kolczynski is the hill climb specialist. Bruni has been on absolute fire over the last few weeks. And we have got the home rider, Catherine Fu, who will know these roads. She was down in Zurich on this course. And got to say, a massive well done to Catherine Fuhr's sister, taking a medal at the Para World Games as well. Massive congratulations to her in the Para Championships, and massive congratulations to everybody who rides on the Sunday Race Club, who is racing at the World Championships as well. There's quite a number of riders in there. I can't wait to collate those riders together, and hopefully we'll bring you some of those names next week when we get to the end of those Para Championships and into October. However, it is our Sunday Sunday finals. Our 4 riders are very different here. One thing's uniting them, the amount of pain on this climb, how hard they're having to work to climb up this hillside here. So you can see the category of 3 riders are now at the front of the race. Gina Van Rossum leading it out, the rider on the right-hand side of your screen, and Lena Francisco de Silva in second place now. Takova fighting to stay with this group. She's currently 5 seconds down from Van Rossum. Johnson sandwiched in between at 2 seconds, and Hadlock at the moment really working to get back in to the top of this group. Every single rider knows that for their team, they have to give it everything. This is going to be the penultimate climb finish as they go over the top. We've still got distance to go, and look at the gradient, 16% now. Legs are going to be stinging, lungs are going to be on fire. They've got to keep sucking up the oxygen, keep kicking around those pedals. Van Rossum storming away up here at the front of the race. Piccolo and Johnson holding the wheel, so is De Silva. Simkin just about in there. Takova starting to lose ground. Hyde Bryson also losing ground at the front of the race. So Gina Van Rossum really winding this up. Can the rider from the Netherlands do what they couldn't do yesterday on the road champs? Can she take away that top podium spot? It's going to be all about the second climb now from this leading group. They've shed more riders. How far can they go? Can these 5 riders stay clear? Van Rossum, Simkin, Johnson, De Silva, Piccolo. They've got a gap 2 seconds back to Hyde, to Takova, to Bryson. They've got to keep pushing here as they go down. If they ease off, and we are seeing an easing, they're going to let those riders come back in. They can't afford to do that. Category 3, the leaders on the right-hand side, they're being followed by the leaders in Category 4, and just behind them, the leaders of Category 2 are closing as well. And at the moment, it looks to me like the front of this group are just tapping out a rhythm here. The riders at the back, though, they're fighting to stay on the wheels. Jaramillo, London, Miller have to work. They need to get up to the riders at the front, and that is Kasani. That is Svarström right on the front of this race. This is going to be about staying in contention. Lose the group, you're losing out on your chance to be in here. This is where you've got to push. Look at the red chevrons coming across the screen. Everybody digging on the absolute limit to stay with this group if they're at the back, to put people under pressure if they're on the front, and it is splitting. It's opening up. The gaps are opening. Can they reinforce that? Can they drive that wedge home? Big kick coming behind as the riders fight to get back on the wheels before the descent. It's still 3% climb here, but very quickly we drop into the descent. There we go. In the blink of an eye, we're over the top. It's knife edge. Climbing, then descending. This is going to be tough stuff. Well, they're into the descent. They have finished their penultimate climb and coming up towards the summit of the penultimate climb. It's Fua leading out the Category 1. They've got a gap to Bruni. So look at this. This is our lead rider, Catherine Fua, at the moment. She's put the pressure on, no doubt inspired by that World Championship medal-winning ride by her sister on the road champs in the roads of Zurich. At the moment, she's got the gap on Kolczynski. Kolczynski at 2 seconds back. Bruni has blown and gone out the back of the group, 7 seconds down. She's still kicking at 5 watts per kilo. I'll tell you something, I wish I could kick at 5 watts per kilo full stop, never mind at the end of this race, but they are motoring at the moment. The gaps have opened. They've got the gap on the chase riders, who are about 300 meters down the side of the hillside. And now this is the run in towards the final climb. Fua has shown her cards. She's played them. She's kicked. She's gone clear. She's got Kolczynski answering her. Then you've got Bruni. Then you can see just in front of the rider in front of Tidholm, you've got Velt and Soderstrom. They're fighting to stay inside the top 5. They're fighting to lose the riders behind. Going to be really critical how they push over the top here into this next section. We've got one more climb to go. The climb of the Whitcomb. And it comes up, it kicks in as we hit the 31.9k marker. And look at the time gaps. 2 seconds back to Kolczynski on the climb, 9 to Bruni, 13 to Velt and Soderstrom. Lytton fighting up the great time by Brittany Lytton, giving away only 38 seconds in Category 2 to Catherine Fua's 4 minutes 10 on that climb. Absolutely fantastic performance by our Category 2 riders to keep these Category 1 riders so close as they come up there. Now, the rest of the category one coming in through these results live, as you can see, as they go over the top of the penultimate climb. We're on the descent at the moment on the run. Down we're in with the chase group of Velta Tidholm. They're chasing Bruni, who's 36 seconds up the road. Bruni is chasing our two leaders. This is the rider in no man's land at the moment. And then it's going to be Kolchinsky and Fua. They're locked together. So the rider in the yellow and the rider in the polka dot skin suit on the left of your screen are the leaders in category one. They are going to go on to the climb. Already on the climb are the riders in category two, the leaders in category three, and the leaders in category four. All four race categories on our final climb, the Whitcomb climb, 2.5K of pain to take them within 600 meters of the summit. This is the big kick coming here in category two now. They're going to go over the top of this, rise onto the flat. You can see these riders working on. Kasani right up in the mix. Prado working hard in that group as well. They're sat down. Miller tapping out a rhythm here. And look at the revs from Embring. And Embring really spinning as she goes out, gets out of the cell and kicks. Miller working well at the back of this group. This group of leaders in category two come on to this leveling off here before the final part of the climb. Time to take a deep breath for them. Category 4 and 3 leaders are further up the road. Category 3, right-hand side of your screen. They're the furthest riders down the road. Piccolo, Simpkin, Johnson, Van Rossum, De Silva, Takova, Hyde. They are on the climb behind them. The Category 4 leaders are going to see Category 2 come onto their heels any second now. And that means that the leaders in Category 4 are going to see our Category 2 coming up. They're at the base of the climb behind the Category 3 leaders on the right-hand side of your screen. And Johnson has kicked here. Johnson is looking to stretch them out in Category 3. They've already started to distance the riders. Look at the pace he's putting down here behind. They're in one long line. Hadlock has been distanced. And that means that we've got Johnson, Takova in 2, De Silva 3, Simkin 4, Van Rossum 5, Hyde 6, Piccolo 7. They're the riders in the mix here. Still could be anybody's. Hadlock chasing hard to try and close the gap down behind. Hadlock, though, Wagner is leading the Category 2 chase. They're coming. Look at this. From Wagner, Giannatti on the front here. They're putting the rest of the group in trouble on the climb. They've got to get to the summit. The summit comes at 34.4K, 600 meters from there to the finish of the race. They've got to keep pushing. They've got to keep on kicking. Svarstrom on the front, though, putting everybody in trouble. 4.5 watts per kilo. Wagner responding with the bandana just inside. Then comes the helmet here of Brittany Litton, who's been climbing incredibly strongly. Can she close the gaps down? They're the Category 2 leaders. They're coming up on towards the back of Angel Hadlock, which will put them about 30 seconds behind the Category 3 leaders on the road. Category 4 leaders are sandwiched in between, and Category 1 leading group are also in to the same part of the climb. This is going to come together. We're going to try and call you absolutely everything in every single race category. And I can tell you now, so we're not going to be able to get everyone because this is going to be a frantic finish. Kristen Kolchinsky and Catherine Fua locked together. Fua leading on the left-hand side of your screen in the polka dot. Kolchinsky responding. This kick, this runner to the line, going to be critical. Remember, this is the world's course. We've got the World Championships in Abu Dhabi at the end of October. That's going to be an interesting month as the Category 1 and 2 riders hone their pace and their performance for that. Meanwhile, on the Category 2 riders, they are continuing to push here. You can see Brittany Litton on the left of your screen sitting here behind Victoria in front of Embring. Miller being distanced out the back of this group. They're closing in on the Category 4 riders and the Category 4 leader. Gina Van Rossum has gone to the fore again, got the polka dot skin suit on. She's climbing towards the summit of this climb. It's still a fair way around these left-hand turns. She's got one more turn after this one. The gap at the moment to Takova, De Silva and Simkin, 3 seconds. So It is at the moment Rossum in 1, Johnson in 2, Takova in 3, Simkin in 4, De Silva in 5. 5 riders clear, about 6 seconds back to Hyde, to Piccolo, to Bryson, but the team competition is in play. We are on the monthly final, and this is where every single second counts. We add up the first 3 riders in each team, and that gives the team time. We have seen the first and second places be decided by fractions of a second before, so every second counts. If you think you're going to sit up before the line, think again. It's not going to work. Fua at the moment working away up past Vittori, the climber, the leading climber in the Category 2 in green. Fua at the moment going through. And just taking a look back, I'm looking for that yellow jersey of Kolchinsky. It looks to me like the gap has gone. Kolchinsky is further down the road, 10 seconds now. Catherine Fua stamps her feet through the pedals on home roads here today. She's kicking away up the climb here. She's trying to close in on Van Rossum, who's leading in Category 3. She's working her way through. Stefani Piccolo sees Fua go past her. Hyde will be the next target in front of Fua. 7th place for Fua, the Category 1 leader on the road. The Category 3 leader, Van Rossum, has still got 4 seconds on the riders behind. But, and it is a big, big but, this is not the finish line. This is just the top of the climb. This is the polka dot banner that's coming in. We've got 600 meters. Look at the face of Catherine Fua. This is a performance. I tell you something, the Fua family are a fast family. They've got the speed, they've got the legs. This is going to be an absolutely storming ride here. Fua continues to kick. A real pursuit match down here. 18 seconds, about 700 meters for Fua. It's about 600 meters for Van Rossum to the finishing line. She goes in through. This is for the run to the line. It eases off. She can't afford to let those pedals go slack. She can't afford that chain not to be tight, because Johnson, Takova, Simkin, De Silva, Hyde are all chasing behind. Hyde probably just too far for her, but she's got the Flying Fua coming behind her as well. This is for the run to the line, the UCI banner. MyWhoosh, the UCI partner for 24, 25 and 26, sponsors of the Road and Para Championships, where Emma Martin is at the moment putting words to the action. Well, we're putting words to the action here on MyWhoosh on the course here in Zurich. Gina Van Rossum with the gap. She's opened the gap up. Gina Van Rossum is going to surely take away the victory. She continues to pound those pedals. She can't relax. It's going to be a win in a Category 3, a win overall over the line for Gina Van Rossum on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, the monthly final. Van Rossum takes it from De Silva, from Simkin, and then it's going to be Johnson behind in Category 1. It's going to be Catherine Fua with the fastest time of the day. Catherine Fua, the Swiss rider, takes the victory in Category 1. In Category 2, Svarstrom takes the win from Wagner, from Vittori. Then it is going to be Gianatti and Litton on the fight into the line. Our next rider coming through is going to be Kolchinsky, taking 2nd place in Category 1. 3rd place in Category 1 is going to be Mulbree. Don't worry, we'll round these up. If you're not keeping up, I think I'm struggling at the moment. We will round this up. Coming in 3rd place is Mulbree in Category 1, making her way into the line here. An absolutely amazing ride by Mulbree, and that is really good for the team competition as well. Absolutely frantic race here today. You can see Catherine Fua coming in and through, taking away the win in Category 1 from Kristen Kolchinsky into Mulbree in 3. In Category 2, Anna Svarstrom taking the win from Dana Wagner in 2, Serena Vittori in 3, Hannah Gianatti in 4, and Brittany Litton in 5. In Category 3, Gina Van Rossum in 1, Melissa Simkin in 2, Elena Francisca De Silva in 3, Rebecca Johnson in 4, and Nicola Takova in 5. Our Category 4 riders are still on the way in to the finish in the lead of Category 4. But riders coming through thick and fast. So let's bring you the top riders in category 1. Catherine Fua taking away the win. The first rider home, 1 hour and 36.072 seconds. Following her, 10 seconds down, Kristen Korchinski. 32 seconds down, Merle Bruni in third. Then it's Joanna Tidholm taking away fourth place. Coming in. Then we're going to see Soderstrom come through in 5, Velt in 6, Kalman in 7, Holcroft in 8, Engstrom in 9, Kolkowitz in 10. That is your top 10 as it stands. You can catch up with the full results, which are probably more coherent and clear than listening to me, on the MyWhoosh.com website. Go to results on the menu bar. That is live and updating at the moment. Don't forget, when it's verified, you'll see that blue tick, and then you can check that out. A frantic, fantastic race on a brand new race route. Once again, here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. The finals here in September, coming from Zurich. A brutal course, some fantastic racing, amazing riders. What a race, what a performance. A massive thank you to you for watching. Please do remember, hit that subscribe button on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel, on Twitch TV if you're watching there. Please do give MyWhoosh a follow. It's at MyWhoosh on Facebook and Instagram. Give Emma a follow. It's at biking_Emma. She's out in Zurich in real life, in person at the moment on the Paracycling World Championships for the UCI. You can follow me. It's at Matt Fixerpain. Every single like, share, follow helps all of us. So please do jump on board and do that. And please do jump on board and join us. Good chance to get riding and racing. We'll be back for the men's final shortly, and then we'll be back next week for the start of the October races, qualifier race number 1. Are you going to be on that start line? I hope so. Until then, stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.